Hey guys, I thought I would hop on here today and do a quickie video for you because, well, I wanted to, and number two, I haven't really felt like I've had a lot to say because I haven't necessarily been using interesting point of view. I have this point of view in my head, but I've been being more of it. And so I sort of wanted to riff on that a little bit today and sort of talk about what it is that's creating that for me, and maybe this could contribute to your world as well. When I first started using interesting point of view, I have this point of view, I literally, like, for every single thought, every single feeling, every single emotion, I was like, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I had this point of view. So I sort of drove myself crazy. And the way it's showing up now is different. And one of the things that's really making it easier to be more interesting point of view, hey Sarah, is having information. Now I'm going to riff on this a little bit. So I was just at the abuse class in Houston, and holy fuck, what a game changer. If you can like create money to take any class in Access Consciousness, I would do whatever it takes to get to that class, because there's some of the most foundational things that I've bought into that were the lies that were creating the dis-ease in my universe. And one of the conversations that occurred in that class that has created so much space to be interesting point of view is the conversation of it's not personal. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be able to impart all of the energy of that massive awareness in one tiny little video, but I wanted to like sort of start the conversation because it was really a game changer for me. And the way it came up is we were looking at abuse, and we were, Dane's been through a lot of abuse in his life, and I've been through a lot of abuse pretty much everybody in that class had been through a lot of abuse. And I think Gary had thought he had been saying it's not personal for like years, and we just hadn't been hearing him, and he probably has. But for whatever reason, they were talking on stage, and Gary came out and he said, it's not personal. Like, he got really intense with it, as if he was frustrated that nobody was hearing him. And we all literally looked at Gary and we were like, what? Like, abuse isn't personal? Like, it was this one of those pieces of information that takes everything that you've ever bought in your life and like turns it around and flips it on its head. And you're like, wait a minute, if it's not personal, which is light, that means like every single thing that my mom's ever done, that my dad's ever done, that I've ever done, that I've had a lover that's ever done, or a husband that's ever done, isn't about me. It's not about me. And that one thing, it's not personal, started this whole chain of conversations like things do in Access classes that led to looking at I started looking at like everywhere I had taken the abuse, or my mom being who she is, or my lovers being who they are personally, and what that had created in my world. And I was like, wow, when something's personal, I have to get offended about it. I have to have a reaction to it, or I have to ignore it. Or when something's personal, I have to have all these things that we talk about in Access Consciousness as like distractor implants or reactions to things. And if it's not personal, if that person is literally just choosing whatever they're choosing and I happen to be in the way, that's a very different reality. And that seems really, really, really simple. But what that's changed for me is I'm literally walking around my life now with my housemates, with my partner, with my friends, with people online going, oh, them being that way has nothing to do with me. That right there is being interesting point of view. Like, that has nothing to do with me. Literally, that person can be whatever it is they're going to be, and they can do whatever it is they're going to do, and I get to have choice with that. And so, like, I just started sort of facing all these situations in my life in the last few days that I just haven't been wanting to face, and I was just like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's have this conversation. Let's look at this. This isn't working anymore. What can we actually choose and create here? Because no longer was I buying the story on the other side of the table, right? It was just a story in the middle of us, right? And then this person was being whatever they were being, and that had nothing to do with me, and I got to be whatever I wanted to be that had nothing to you. It's not personal is the new interesting point of view. Fucking right. And that's mainly why I wanted to do this video, is like, holy fuck, it's not personal. It's not personal what your dad did to you. It's not personal what your mom did to you. It's not personal that your partner gets weird. It's not, nothing is personal. And so I haven't had to use interesting point of view. I have this point of view for much of anything anymore. Because right now, in this 10 seconds, I'm also post-class and a lot of space. But it's like, I like, what would it be like if you could actually walk around your life and go, what if this wasn't personal to me? Like, what if that other person being completely weird, even though you could link the two things, you could link your behavior and their behavior in response to it, you could make that connection. What if there wasn't a connection? Even if there was a connection, even if you were doing something and somebody else had a thing about it, what if that wasn't personal? Because like you guys were all like walking around in our own little universes here. We're walking around with our own little points of view, our own little freakouts, our own little distractor implant universe going on, or whatever it is we've got going on. And then we're just bumping into each other. It's like a, I don't even know, bumper cars, right? We're just in the middle of this bumper car ring bumping into each other. And some of us bump into each other and bump even more, right? We like that. But then we like make this, then this becomes a problem, and then it becomes hard, and then we have to solve it because now we've got a bumper car problem, and then we have a relationship problem. And this is why we're using the clearings of whose lies and what lies am I using to create the blank I am choosing right now? Whose lies and what lies am I using to create the relationship problem I am choosing? Whose lies and what lies am I using to create the trauma and drama I am choosing? Because everything that creates that situation in your world, whether any kind of difficulty, is based on a lie. And this to me is one of like the primary lies that we buy dynamically of it's personal. Now, I want to talk about the flip side of this, where when I first let it sink in, I was almost a little bit disappointed, upset, unhappy, because what I started to see was if nothing is personal, then every single thing that I had been creating as a problem or as an upset was a creation. And that was almost something I didn't want to look at, because I was like, oh man, like I've been creating shit all over the map. If that's not personal and that's not personal and that's not personal, man, I've been creating a lot of shit. And I almost didn't want to see that. And thank you, Fee. And then I was like, and all of this is happening in microseconds in my head, right? Like I'm sitting in class and I'm starting to see it and I'm like, oh, and then you can't unsee what you see, right? You can't unsee it. So now, like, once you're aware, you're screwed. You're aware now. And so I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, so I've created a lot of shit. Cool. That moment where you start to recognize you've created a lot of shit is the moment where you want to be interesting point of view with you. Because it doesn't matter that you've created a lot of shit. It doesn't matter that you didn't even have the information. None of that matters. That doesn't make you a bad person. And that's the gift of this tool. That's the gift of the space of this tool of like, okay, cool. Being interesting point of view. I have this point of view. God, I was so grateful for the way Heather described that the other day. Going, okay, cool. I've created a lot of shit. So what would it be like? And this is the question. I use this question a lot. What would it be like if? What would it be like if I was really willing to acknowledge that every single thing I choose in reaction to or as was a choice of mine? And just stop it there. Because the moment you go any further than that, was a choice of mine because you are now into the reason and justification for what you just made the choice to do. And there is no reason and justification for choice. It's just choice. So the empowering piece of that is if you are choosing shit, you're just choosing shit. It's cool. You can choose shit. It's all good. You can even create a reason to choose shit and make it their fault, right? But if you acknowledge it's a choice, that's where you're functioning from consciousness. It's like, yeah, I'm choosing it and it's their fault. It may not actually be their fault, but I'm choosing to make it their fault, right? That's being consciousness. Consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. So the target with this whole tool, the target with it's not personal, is to take away the judgment of anything. And with the it's not personal thing, if you're really willing to look around at the people in your life and look at you even, and go, okay, it's not personal, I'm just choosing, or it's not personal, they're choosing. Does that work for me? If it doesn't work for me, what can we change and what can we create that's different? And that's where you get to be empowered, right? That's where it gets empowering to recognize that it's not personal. If somebody's reacting and responding to you and you're like, oh, they hate me, I know they hate me, and then you got to go in and find why they hate you, and then you got to get into the reality to figure out what's going on and what you did wrong, and right, all of a sudden you're into this like fucking poo pile of magnitude that you created in your own world that may not have even been going on. And then it creates a problem, and then you've got to fix the problem. Like, it's like, this shit keeps us busy. So what would it be like to walk around in your world and going, okay, it's not personal. They're just being themselves. Do I want to be around them right now? They may be like, throwing mud around in your room right now, energetically. Does that work for you? If it doesn't work for you, then you get to just say, hey, listen, that doesn't work for me. So what other choices do we have here? And if they don't want to be in choice, then you get to make another choice. It doesn't have anything to do with you, and you get to create and have your world the way that you would like it. So I would really, really add to your toolbox the it's not personal thing. Like, interesting point of view. I have this point of view about them. And also, what if none of this was personal to me? What choices do I have available to me? And what can I actually create here that I haven't acknowledged? And I think that's the final thing I want to wrap up with, is like this whole consciousness thing can be for whatever you want it to be for. You can use interesting point of view. I have this point of view to create more money, to have more business, to have a bigger house, to have a better relationship. You can also use it to go, what do I truly desire to create here with this person? Do I desire to create with this person? What do I desire to create with my life here? Do I desire to keep being in conflictual situations? What do I desire to create with money? Do I desire to keep creating a place where I'm in need and lack? Not really. So what else is possible? This is where interesting point of view, I have this point of view, begins to, if you allow it, to lead you into the creation of something else. In the beginning, it's sort of like getting out of the trauma and drama and having space. If you allow it, it can lead you into being willing to start creating something different. Not just responding, not just not just trying to sort out where you're fucking things up or feeling fucked up or whatever, but into the creation. And that's, Gary's been talking a lot about that lately. He's like, we are taught to fight against things. An interesting point of view, I have this point of view, and it's not personal, it starts to take you out of fighting against. What if you added to that, what can I fight for? Not from that fighting energy that's the resistance and the reaction, but what do I want to create? What do I desire to create here? So that was a lot, but I wanted to jump in here, and I'm so grateful you guys are here playing with me and us and all of us. Thank you. And if you know any of your friends that would get a lot out of this group, please invite them to play, because what would it take for the whole world to be using interesting point of view, and it's not personal, and all the things. All right, I will see you later.